Alright, so if you saw the other video on the importance of keeping your carbs clean to have quick starts and also be able to start them up for years to come without having to clean these carburetors all the time, today I'm going to be looking at changing out these little breathers that go to the tops of the carbs with some that I made that I can remove the filter and change it out, versus these that are on the bike that came on them. They actually, you can't get them apart, so you have to cut them. So this is a second gen I restored last year, and I didn't change them out because I figured I'd have to take the carburetors off and clean them again because, you know, all the crud comes down from everywhere. But it's actually held on there pretty good, so I'm just going to change these little guys out and see if the carburetors will stay clean. But for my first gen, on those bikes, I've been cutting them open over the years and replacing out the foam inside. Now, I'll show you what it looks like inside of one of them here in just a second when I set the camera down, and then we'll look at the one I made because I've gotten tired of cutting them open, and I decided might as well just make some that I can take apart and clean the little foams out every couple of years, and then I'll be in good shape. So we'll set up and do the second gen first because it's the easiest, and then I'll go over to the bobber first gen and we'll take those off because they're a little more difficult to get off there. You got to fiddle around a little bit with the carburetors to get those little guys out of there. So let's get set up here, get these things swapped out, and then we'll fire the bikes up, make sure that I got my restriction right on my foam, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so let's get these little breather filters taken out. So you might not even know they're there. They sit right here and right there. Two tubes that feed the carburetors. And even if you look up the parts diagram, it doesn't say anything about a filter. It just says this is a tube. But it's got a little filter inside. So this is what the filter looks like in case you've never seen it. And this is one that I've been taking apart and putting back together. And if you look inside, you can see that the screens are the only thing left. So if you had this little guy, we'll take it off and rattle it, but if you shake it and it makes a rattling noise, then it's pretty much worthless. Now, I did just buy some brand new old stock ones. Come to find out, those are bad too because they've been sitting around so long, and what has happened is the foam that's supposed to be in between these screens has rotted, and it went downstream and it stopped up my carburetor sometime in previous years. Well, I cleaned them all out, and so then I just ran them with this, but it's still picking up crud and it's putting them in the carburetor. So this is why I cut them open and I replaced the little filter material inside, because those little screens are nasty and they're rusty and they also let stuff suck through. So we'll take these off this bike because I haven't had them off, and shake them and see what they look like. I might cut them open and see as well. But I'm going to replace them out with these little guys right here that I made, and they're actually made so that you can open them up. So inside of here, if I open them up, there is two nice little stainless screens, and then also brand new filter media. So I can take that filter media out right there and replace it every couple of years. You don't have to replace it every year, but every couple of years anyway. Replace that little disc out, put it back together, and then I'm good to go, and my carburetors will stay clean and it won't suck that material down into my carburetor. So easy peasy on the second gen. All we got to do is get this cover off, pull our whole AIS system back a little bit, and we can pop them guys right out there. So let me take these things off. And like I say, it's real easy to do. The only reason really why I'm showing it is because folks might not even realize that those are on there. So let me get this guy took off. 10mm under the cover, and then you just raise the cover up and wiggle him upwards and he'll pop off. So one thing that I have noticed in taking that cover off is there's a little nut right here, and that's the nut that that screw goes up into, and a lot of times it'll fall out and then you'll be like, well, where's my nut? So there is the nut right there. So it'll slide out of there. You got to be careful that you don't lose that little guy, or else that screw won't work. So we're almost there. You can see here's one. There's one up in there. I'll zoom in here in a second. But we just got to take these bolts loose right here, and we'll just pull this system just out a little bit to get these pipes off. And then we'll be able to swap these guys out. Now for the first gen, this is a little more complicated because you got to lift the tank up and do some things, but it's still the same process. And one thing to note for the restriction, like I was talking about, that I got to make sure my restriction is right on my little red foam media in there. is that for the second gens, these Mikunis aren't too sensitive about this. They don't get a lot of airflow through these. But for the first gens, if you put too much restriction, like too much filter, or you don't get the right media in your little screens, it'll actually keep those bikes from running. You can't throttle up. And I'll show that in a minute when we go over there. I'll fire that bike up and put my fingers on it. The other video shows it as well. But if you get the restriction wrong, you're going to have a whole lot of problems and you're going to wonder why your bike won't run. But for the second gens, it's not that big of a deal. These aren't too sensitive. So all we got to do is just slide that guy back and we'll just leave it hooked up. And then we just got to move the clamps back, which I've already moved that one clamp back. And we just pull that little joker off there. So there is the original one. So now if I shake it, this one makes a little bit of rattling, but if I look all the way down through it, I can see light all the way through the thing. So I don't know if I can hold that light up, but if you look down in there and you just shine a light through it and you can see light all the way through, then there's no more media in there. It's just the screens, and they're probably nasty. So might as well not even have it on there, get something else, or clean those screens out, try to run something through there to clean the screens and put it back on there until you can get something. But we're going to swap this little guy out. So as simple as this, all I got to do is take the pipes off because I'm going to reuse them. And I think Yamaha glued them onto these things. So I got to take a pair of pliers and break them free from this little guy. So let me go get a pair of pliers and see if we can't pop that loose. Then we just have to replace this little guy out. Alright, so we just got to get the tubes off. So you just grab them and kind of squeeze on them a little bit. And they seem like they're glued on there, but I don't know. Maybe they're just on there pretty tight. Now, my little new guy's got an orientation, because if I look inside of this little fella, one side of it I didn't have to do any machining to. So this side with the hex on it, that's going to be the clean side. This side I had to do a little machining in there, so there might be a little bit of plastic stuff. So just in case, I want to keep that on the dirty side. So the way I'm going to install these little boogers is with the hex towards the carburetors. That way if there was any little residue in there from where I machined the plastic, it won't get sucked down in there because it'll stay on the dirty side. So all we got to do is get our little tubes and put our little tubes back on. And get our other little tube. Then we just want to put that one back on there. And then we're going to put our clip back on. And there we go. So we just tighten him up, make sure he's nice and tight. And you can look down in there and make sure you can't see light through it. And we just stick that little guy back on there. So there we go. Simple as that. I've got him swapped out. So now all I got to do is the one in the back there. I'll zoom in there and you can see it. It's hiding behind this little tube. But it pulls off the same way. And then we can put it back together and we'll fire the bike up and make sure everything runs. So let me just zoom in there a little bit. So right up in there is the second one. And we just got to get this little tube out of the way. We just give him a tug and see where it comes. So it doesn't even have a clip on. It's got a clip on the back side. So all we got to do is the very same thing. We just swap that little guy out. So there we go. Now we just got to bolt our AIS unit back on and put a cover back on, and we have successfully swapped out the second gen. Now like I say, the first gen is going to be a little more difficult, so just little bumps up here, and you got to kind of finagle this cover a little bit to get it to sit down on the bump. And then it goes underneath, and then if your little nut stayed in there, then you ought to be able to hit the little nut and put it back together. So there we go, as simple as that. And as you can hear, this one was really bad. All it's got left is the screens in it, and they look nasty as well. So that wasn't doing me any good, and it was sucking stuff down into my carburetors that eventually would have dirtied them up. So now I got little foam filters in there, so I'm in good shape. So we'll set the camera back over here and I'll fire it up just to make sure it'll throttle up. I didn't do anything wrong. And then we'll switch over to the first gen. Alright, so like I say, the second gens aren't too sensitive about these little breathers, but just to make sure that everything's good, I'm going to fire the bike up and we're going to check and make sure that it'll throttle up good. everything's good on that one. So now, with our new little breathers installed, we don't have to worry about sucking crud down in our 1100 here. So let's switch over to the first gen, and we'll show how to take them off, because they're a little bit different. One of them's an elbow, and the other one is a little straight one. But works about the same, just a little harder to get to. So let's go over there and see what we got to do. Alright, so for the first gen, and for my bobber, I had to take a little bit of stuff off, had to take the breather off, but to get to these, the easiest thing to do is just take the tank off, or at a minimum you're going to have to raise it up. But real easy to take the tanks off of these. You just pop them off, take the lines off. So let's zoom in here and see where these guys are on the first gen. So right there, you can see them. Here is the crooked one that goes up, and then the other one comes down off this tube. Now these run up to some lines right here, and they go back underneath the seat on a stock bite, or under this plate on my bobber right here. So they get nice laminar air coming in, because it's really important on these Hitachis. These things are super sensitive to restriction on these, so if you're just shoving foam down in those pipes, or you've stuck like a little pleated filter or something on there, it may be causing you to have issues with throttle up. And we'll see in a minute, once I change these out, how it throttles up. We'll make sure we're okay on our restriction on our media. But these are really important on the first gen. Second gen, not so sensitive. First gen, super critical to get your restriction right. So let's get set up here and swap these two out. I may have to cut the lines a little bit, because the ones I make are a little bit longer on one end, but we'll see how they fit up here in just a second. Alright, so for the first gens, it's a little more complicated because it's kind of buried up under stuff. So I'm going to take some things off. I already got the gas tank off, but I'm going to remove the little choke cable and get him out of the way. Probably don't have to, but make it a little easier to get to the clip. So not a big deal. So then we just got to get this clip off and get him pushed out so we can pull the tube off. Get him far enough out of there. And we just grab a screwdriver and we start prying. So, get that one loose. Then we can pull it loose from the top up there. A little difficult. Get a pair of pliers or something pulled down on him. There we go. So now we got him off. So we're going to leave that one for last. I'm going to change that other one out because it's way up there on the inside, up by the wiring harness. So this one I'm going to pull the pipe off first, get it down, and then see if I can access that clip way up inside of there. So it's way back up in there on that other carburetor. But it can be done with a little patience. I'm just going to squeeze the clip and then turn it. I'll leave the clip in place and I'll just squeeze the clip. So there's the straight one, and it's got a clip on it, so we're going to swap that guy out. We just need to squeeze his little clip and get him out of here. Now these I've been cutting open and gluing back, so not a big deal on them, but I want to get them replaced out with these replaceable ones, so then I won't have these issues. So it goes back in there that way with the hex towards the motor. And so I'm going to put this little guy back onto my hose, and we'll get him clipped back down. Then all we got to do is reach in there and grab the clip and shove him back on. And there we go. So now that one's good to go right there. So we'll plug him back in here in just a second. Now we can work on this one. So this is the one that was coming to the front one and goes to that one. So I'll go ahead and get this one put on. Holds everything in place. Alright, so now we just got to work this one out. So we're going to replace him with the crooked one. And what I need is the hex towards the motor. And so I'm going to pull these clips off and swap these out. Alright, so there is our new assembly. Like I say, it might not fit exactly right because this is a little bit longer than the original one. So he's a little stubby guy. So I might have to move around, but I'm going to try to put it on there and see just how much I need to cut off. So if I shove it back up on there, you can see it would probably fit better on that pipe like it is, but I'm just going to trim it back a little bit and get it closer to that other pipe over there. Alright, so for the front one, it's a little bit tighter in there. And so what you got to do is cut the little pipe that connects them up. You got to cut that down to where if you put them together, it's the length of that with this touching right onto the pipe. So I got to cut that down just a hair so I can get it to fit up in there. So we're just going to take just a little bit off. Just enough to get them to go end to end. Like that. Now we'll put this guy on here. Like that right there. So now everything matches up. The choke still works. And I can just push my little clip back up on there. And there we go. So now we got them changed out so that I can replace those guys when I need to. A little filter element on the inside. So let's put everything back together and then we'll kickstart this bike and make sure everything works. Alright, so with our new filters installed, let's fire this thing up and make sure it throttles up good. So we will kick her over. It's a warm day, so I probably don't need to choke. So she sounds good, so I didn't have too much restriction on my little air filters. And now my carburetors are nice and safe and they're not going to get crud sucked down in them from those just having the screens where the filter media had rotted out. So I am good to go and probably my carbs will stay clean for years to come. Well, alrighty. Well, thanks for watching.